playing around that Zacian, that Thundurus, for example. Gastron's a really pivotal Pokemon in this matchup, given that there is a Colossal on Joseph's team. We were just talking about Colossal before starting this matchup, and yeah, here we are with Colossal in the winner's bracket. We'll see if Joseph can take it all the way, but I'm super excited to just get started with this first match.
I am as well. Unfortunately, as you said before, there already is a 1-0 lead for Joe here. Due to the team sheet error, on Marco's side of the field, we are seeing that Thundurus incarnate form coming out, as well as that Zacian. And then on Joe's side, the Colossal paired with the Rillaboom to start off with.
Yeah, Rillaboom, really interesting support here, but I think it makes a lot of sense, right? Typically, when you see Colossal, you expect it to be paired with maybe something like Dragapult immediately, but Marco actually has that Gastron on his team composition, so I think what Joseph was going for here was, hey, if you lead that Gastron, I can just put on pressure immediately with something like a Grassy Glider or Wood Hammer onto the Gastron, and if you don't lead the Gastron, I can just switch out here immediately. Colossal is obviously really strong if it gets that Steam Engine and Weakness Policy boost, but it doesn't necessarily need it to still be strong, right? The residual effect from G-Max Volplith alone is really, really powerful. So Joseph here going for the switch it into Incineroar, I think that makes a lot of sense. That way, even if you double up onto Colossal with Thundurus and Zacian, you should survive the turn with Colossal. And just getting a single Volplith off to start the game is really, really strong. Incineroar coming out next turn also puts on that fake out pressure against the Zacian. Of course, you might end up intimidating a Defiant Thundurus, but even at +1 attack, shouldn't be able to actually pick up a KO.
As you said, Incineroar coming out, getting that attack drop on the Zacian, bringing it back to neutral, the Defiant boost, of course, on the Thundurus. I mean, you never really want to be giving these boosts, but at the same time, you do really need to slow down that Zacian just a little bit. Marco opting to Dynamax on the first turn here, going for that Thundurus. I mean, it makes sense that Thundurus already has that attack boost, as well as things such as Max Airstreams can really start putting some speed control on Marco's side of the field here, which, I mean, he does have to change his game plan up a little bit, not having that Sableye, which I think would have been really key in this matchup, so having to opt for a different strategy to start off here.
Absolutely, yeah. We're going to see the Max's trade here, and I think, you know, this is the interesting thing about Colossal. Like, I think when people think about Colossal teams, they often think that you kind of have to force the Steam Engine stuff right away, but the reality is that the best Colossal players are able to figure out, you know, really unique combinations, and so, yeah, Rillaboom and Incineroar here, not typically the things that get Colossal activated immediately, but Zacian's going to get the first hit in this game.
Behemoth Blade hitting into that Colossal, bringing it down to about half HP here. Definitely a big hit. This Airstream from the Thundurus just going into that Incineroar, picking up, doing a lot of damage. Incineroar holding on with just a little bit of HP left, but of course is going to get some recovery back from that Citrus Berry.
Yeah, so big survival there. I mean, it puts on pressure with Fake Out next turn, and both Pokemon here end up surviving the turn. We're going to see that Volplith come out as well. So, going to target down that Thundurus, and does just over 50%. Also has that Volplith chip damage off at this point as well. So, I think, you know, this is definitely a decent turn for both players. I think, you know, with from Joseph's end, given Marco's lead, Dragapult plus Colossal could have seemed pretty good, but once again, the Rillaboom Colossal is kind of just like a middle grounds lead where you know that if Gastron comes out as a lead, that puts on a lot of pressure against Colossal immediately. The Incineroar switch out here was great, and the Max Airstream actually not picking up the KO on Incineroar means he'll stick around for one more turn. That means you can put on pressure with the Fake Out onto Zacian this next turn. +1 Max Knuckle from Thundurus, or really any attack from that Thundurus shouldn't be able to actually knock out the Thundurus right now, so Joseph just opting for a very safe Fake Out plus Volplith play. Zacian here might want to protect or consider switching out, is going to go for that protect, and so, you know, Marco will likely get one more attack off with this Thundurus, but then Joseph will have an extra turn of Dynamax to basically play with if Colossal doesn't faint here.
Of course, that Thundurus is going to opt for the Max Knuckle, like you said, getting an attack boost on both of the Pokemon. Will finally take out that Incineroar. Incineroar were able to hold on last turn, but not able to hold on through that Max Knuckle. This Thundurus now at a +2 attack, the Zacian at a +1. Both of these Pokemon are very fast, very strong, but this Volplith coming out and is going to pick up the KO on the Thundurus here.
Yeah, I think, going into this matchup, Marco, Charizard doesn't seem like a very good option for him to bring, so he's really relying on Thundurus or Gastrodon, and as like your Dynamax options, right? And you don't really want to be maxing a Gastrodon against a Rillaboom, as well as the fact that, Colossal here actually has that max overgrowth, so that's just two really, really strong grass-type attacks that you really have to worry about. So as a result, Marco kind of forced to just bring out that Thundurus and Dynamax immediately, and Colossal is a rather decent counter to that Thundurus here in the end. So Colossal still putting on some pressure, and then the Rillaboom here, coming out for Joseph, able to pressure with a fake out this next turn as well. And what's interesting is that the Zacian just protected, and you can't fake out into the Colossal because it is max, so you can't flinch it. So here, there's a really important decision. Do you target the Zacian with just the fake out or a max flare? Because Marco presumably has that Gastrodon in the back. So, he could make the really risky decision to just stay in and go for that Behemoth Blade onto Colossal. But if you're worried about fake out and flare, you're going to want to switch out into that Gastrodon. Incineroar here, of course, can go for something like a fake out onto Rillaboom, but perhaps you'd rather go for something just like a Flare Blitz or a Parting Shot, because fake out's actually not that valuable. Zacian is going to switch out here, and we actually saw what Joseph went for this turn. So Joseph kind of one step ahead, reading into Marco's potential switch here.
We saw him debate between the Max Flare into the slot or not, opting to just target after the Incineroar. Fake out into Incineroar. Incineroar is not doing much this turn, and that Volplip is going to be hitting into it, dealing massive damage and just taking it off the field, leaving Marco with just 2 Pokemon left on his side.
Yeah, that was actually a really critical turn because, if Marco made the prediction that Joseph was going to double up onto the Incineroar and Zacian just goes for a Behemoth Blade onto the Colossal, it had that attack boost from that Max Knuckle last turn, so it likely would have picked up the knockout onto Colossal. And we know what Joseph's last Pokemon is. It's that Evoltal, and Evoltal matches up really, really poorly into Zacian, as well as Rillaboom, right? So Zacian actually likely would have just won this game had it stayed in and actually gone for the Behemoth Blade, but that's a really tough prediction to make, right? Because it also feels like you outright just lose the game if Fake Out plus Max Flare KOs that Zacian. So Marco, not willing to really want to gamble there, and the Gastrodon normally a pretty good switch into that flare, but Joseph makes a really good read and doubles up onto the Incineroar slot, really expecting that Zacian to switch out that turn, and that definitely gives him a really, really big advantage now. So Dynamax is over. You've got Rillaboom out against the Gastrodon. That's really strong, especially because the Gastrodon here, doesn't have that Rindo Berry, so you can knock it out very easily here. Joseph, debating, maybe I am expecting the Gastrodon to protect this turn. If I call the protect properly, then the next turn I can get a guaranteed KO onto it, and then it's going to be a 2v1 or even a 3v1 against the Zacian.
Yeah. Colossal going for that protect, as we saw. Gastrodon on Marco's side is also going to be going for the protect, so the read here was correct. The Zacian is going to go for the Behemoth Blade into the Colossal, and that Rillaboom, a Wood Hammer, picking up a nice little chunk of damage, all honesty, taking a little bit of recoil damage. That damage, though, combined with the G-Max Volplip Rocks, is definitely going to start adding up here. There's a little bit of recovery, but the damage output is just a bit bigger than that recovery, and all you need to do is keep chipping that Zacian away here.
Yeah, exactly. And now it feels like Marco's in a really, really tough position because Joseph has basically made the right prediction 2 turns in a row, and Marco hasn't really been able to get anything out of it. We see the leftovers here on the Gastrodon, so we know it's just going to feign to any grass-type attack, and with the Zacian not even opting to target the Rillaboom last turn, like Rillaboom here is in a really, really safe spot. So I think now you can just go for, the Grassy Glide, opt to just, get that 1-hit KO onto Gastrodon, and then it's really tough for Zacian to actually fight back from this because you're going up against 3 different Pokemon. Maybe you could pick up 1 KO, but at this point, its HP is just so low. That's why that Volplip early game is so important. If you can knock out your opponent's Dynamax Pokemon early on, and to make everything else that's not Dynamax take, that Volplip chip damage, it just adds up so quickly. And so despite Steam Engine and Weakness Policy not even going off in this game, Colossal still just, putting in a lot of work. And so here I think Marco's in a really tough slot. I think you probably want to try to go for the double protect with Gastrodon and then try to crit like a Behemoth Blade onto Rillaboom. If you don't get that, it feels like the numbers advantage is just too big for Joseph, and Joseph will take over the game. So let's see if the Gastrodon goes for a double protect here. Oh, it doesn't.
Opts not to, so that Grassy Glide, 4 times effectiveness. It's definitely picking up that KO. Gastrodon going down. This Zacian is left in a 3v1 situation. Going for that Behemoth Blade. I mean, Zacian doesn't have any spread damage moves. It is going to have to target each one of these Pokemon one by one. does a huge hit into this Yveltal, but doesn't pick up this KO. And I mean, Zacian's such a strong Pokemon, but I definitely think it has put in a little bit of a pinch here.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's really about how those two back-to-back turns that Joseph made, you know, reading into the switch and then also reading into the protect from Gastrodon. Now he is in a game-winning position. There's just no way the Zacian on the opposing side can actually do enough damage to everything right now. So, you know, he's just switching out. I think you can play this in multiple different ways. You could cycle the Rillaboom out for Fake Out, you know, reset that terrain. But at this point, like you mentioned, without any spread type damage, like, the opposing side here is just going to get guaranteed damage turn after turn after turn. And so at this point, I think if you're Marco, your path to victory is maybe hoping that your opponent, you know, makes the wrong switches and protects needlessly. But at this point, you know, Joseph can just cycle that Rillaboom back in for that Fake Out. Love how he's playing this, you know, Sucker Punch just for guaranteed damage before he faints. You get the Rillaboom back in, go for the Fake Out. And yeah, despite Zacian actually matching up pretty well individually against all of these Pokemon, it's just kind of too far behind to really pull off the comeback, I think, at this point. And Joseph made the perfect play once again by going for that switch out. Now you reset that terrain and you put on that pressure with Fake Out. So, you know, Zacian probably protects this next turn, but you're not going to be a Rillaboom with that Wood Hammer and that Seed, as well as Colossal, which can obviously just Heat Wave for the win. So, you know, Joseph playing correctly here in this endgame to just secure the victory.
Yeah, like you said, Zacian just so strong against each one of these Pokemon. It's just a little too late here. I mean, it's already severely damaged into the yellow. It is going to go for a protect just to bypass this Fake Out that could be coming out on Joe's side. Sure enough, the Fake Out. Nothing's really going to happen this turn. All the Pokemon will get a little bit of recovery back from this grassy terrain. But, she said, next turn, all Joe needs to do is double hit into this Zacian and hopefully just clean it up here.
I think your best bet here, if your Marco is hoping for a Heat Wave miss and maybe critting a Behemoth Blade onto Rillaboom, I'm not even 100% sure that actually picks up the KO, but that at least gives you, you know, a small window of opportunity. So you should target the Rillaboom here because you know the Colossal's moveset, you know it doesn't have Earth Power, you know, which is 100% accurate. Heat Wave can miss here, so it is going to be Behemoth Blade. If it's a crit and a miss, actually, you know, and the crit's enough to pick up the KO, that actually would win Marco the game. So let's see.
Opposite hit into the Colossal, so close to picking up that KO, but Colossal hanging on there with just a little bit of HP. That Wood Hammer coming out from the Rillaboom is going to finish this Zacian off. I mean, Zacian out here tried its best, but unfortunately just too many Pokemon to try and go after and wasn't